Hi, I'm Kevin Trudeau, and thanks for tuning in. This is a very important message. Matter of fact, it's probably the most important broadcast that I've ever done. Many of you may know that years and years ago, back actually 1989, I did a program called Mega Memory that helped people improve their ability to recall information. It became one of the most popular self-improvement series of all time. When I did that program, Mega Memory, one of the things I did was I made a big decision to expose both corporate and government corruption. And particularly at that time, I was exposing how the Department of Education was trying to force the drug Ritalin on school children. They were actually paying $500 each month to the schools secretly for every child that they got on Ritalin, the attention deficit disorder drug. And millions of kids magically got diagnosed with attention deficit disorder and were given that terrible drug. I exposed that. There was another gentleman named John Shanahan who had Hooked on Phonics, and he exposed that the Department of Education was taking phonics out of the school system. And he sold a program called Hooked on Phonics. You may remember that. At that time, the Federal Trade Commission sued John Shanahan for Hooked on Phonics, had 3 TV exposés about Hooked on Phonics, and basically completely wiped him out. They froze all of his assets and bankrupted him. They did the same to me at that time. They attempted to freeze my assets at that time, but they sued me for Mega Memory, claiming false and misleading advertising, which of course there was none. And later they actually had to sign a consent decree stating that after the investigation, there was no finding of any wrongdoing on my part. But because I made that decision to expose corporate and government corruption in many, many forms, the Federal Trade Commission, the entire government actually, has been on a non-stop mission to try to put me out of business and try to silence me. This has been going on non-stop. I've been sued, I've been investigated, I've been repeatedly harassed, virtually non-stop since 1989. Imagine, since 1989, virtually non-stop attacks and harassment. Every time I travel, for example, the TSA randomly selects me to pull my bag that I've checked and search my bag. I'm randomly selected every single time. The Internal Revenue Service randomly selects me every year for an audit. The amount of harassment that I've gone through has been unbelievable. The FDA has come to our offices with guns drawn, machine guns, to take control of harmless calcium that I was selling. I mean, they actually threw secretaries on the floor. So since 1989, it's been a non-stop battle, and it's cost me virtually tens of millions of dollars in legal fees to fight this battle. And this is a battle I really didn't have to fight. I could have surrendered or capitulated in terms of their demands and just not go into certain areas, but I thought it was very valuable and important to do so. And then I came out with this book, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. It was, I believe, #1 on the New York Times best-selling list 26 weeks in a row. Now, this book really exposed something, the pharmaceutical industry. And this really pushed the government, I believe, off the edge. They just didn't want this. Because this was the first book, a #1 New York Times best-selling book, a book that tens of millions of people actually read. It was the first book that had mass distribution that exposed the unholy alliance between the United States government and the drug companies. And it was explosive. Really opened people's eyes to the conflict of interest that drug companies have and the fact that all they want to do is sell you drugs. The government tried to stop the publication of this book. They tried to stop me from actually printing and writing this book. And they actually sent letters out to television stations and radio stations stating, don't run ads for this book. They really tried to stifle and suppress my First Amendment rights. But I sued them back and actually won some lawsuits in that case. But they weren't done. They were determined to put me out of business. And then I wrote this book, The Weight Loss Cure They Don't Want You to Know About. And I went on television and I said that if you buy this book, you're going to learn about a way to lose weight that I used. I lost 45 pounds in 45 days on this. I said, and if you buy this book, you're going to learn about the method, the Dr. Simeon's method, the HCG Dr. Simeon's method that I use to lose 45 pounds in 45 days. And you're going to find a diet that I found to be very easy and other people found to be easy as well. And when you get done with the diet and lose all the weight, you can pretty much eat anything. The government said that those statements, that the diet was easy and that you could eat anything you want, were misrepresenting the contents of the book. They said they read the book and they didn't think the diet was easy. I asked them if they did the diet. They said no. And I said, isn't easy subjective? Isn't it my opinion? Isn't it my First Amendment right to do that? They said no. And they sued me for being in contempt of court, because the court order that I was under said I could sell a book on television, but I couldn't misrepresent the contents. And the government said that when I used the word easy, I misrepresented the contents. Even though 5 million people bought this book, and anybody who wanted a refund got a refund, and the government had maybe a handful of complaints, 5 million people, it was a New York Times bestseller, they still said I misrepresented the contents of the book, and they charged me with civil contempt. I was found guilty by a single judge who made the ruling, and I was fined $37 million. I was ordered to give the government $37 million, and then the government was going to give it back to the people who bought the book, even though they didn't want their money back and actually liked it. I appealed that ruling, and I fought and fought and fought and spent over $5 or $6 million in legal fees fighting that. And I lost all the way up to the Supreme Court. And I decided that it's time to surrender, that we have to bring this to a close. I can continue to fight and continue to file motions and continue to do this, and let's just bring it to a close. The fact is, I don't have $37 million. So what I asked the judge to do was to appoint a receiver over me in any company I'm associated with. And what that means is, and this is not unusual, courts appoint receivers in many instances. I believe Donald Trump had a receiver appointed over his enterprise. Britney Spears and different people for different reasons get a court-appointed receiver. It means a person comes in, takes complete control of all of your assets, all your bank accounts, all your money. It's like dad comes in and says, look, you're on an allowance and I'm now in control. You have no control at all. I'm virtually the new owner of you. I control your bank accounts, your money, your companies, everything. You're 100% out. And I'm going to look at this and see, what's going on. And in my particular case, I asked the judge to appoint a receiver so that the receiver could do a forensic accounting and see that there's not $37 million. And once that's done, I don't have the ability to pay. I'm not an indentured servant. I can't be forced to work and give money to the government for the rest of my life. But we'll bring this to a conclusion. The judge did. He appointed a receiver over me and over maybe a dozen companies or so that I was involved with. And so the receiver came in and has taken control of my personal assets and any corporations that I was involved with, 100%. Well, let me tell you what that means. That means that I no longer have access to any bank account. The receiver now informed the bank that I can't access the account, that they're in charge. The home that I would live in, for example, the receiver came in and saying, we're taking control of this asset, we're changing the locks, you can't live here. All the furnishings in the home. The receiver says, nope, those aren't yours anymore. We're gonna auction these off and sell them to pay down the $37 million debt. So over me personally, I'm virtually, as I'm recording this, and a friend is actually letting me use the studio for free, I'm virtually penniless right now. I have access to not virtually a dollar, no bank accounts. I have no access to any bank accounts or any cash. I get just a little cash from the receiver to buy some food and groceries, but the government is saying that I shouldn't even get that. So I'm virtually penniless, have no access to any money. I virtually am homeless because I've been kicked out of the houses. They've taken that over as well. And I have no assets, virtually just my clothes. The government has taken everything 100%. And in terms of the companies, they've taken over AT Radio Network, they've taken over Trudeau-approved products, and they've taken control of the Global Information Network. And while the receiver's in control, everything's status quo, everything's continuing to go on. They're not liquidating or closing anything. They're just in charge. You're just looking for $37 million that the government thinks I hid someplace, which I didn't.
So the receiver's in charge, for example, of Jim, and I am not involved in any capacity at this point. The receiver has said while they are in charge, that in terms of Global Information Network, I'm not involved in any capacity. I'm not a member. I can't go to meetings. I can't do conference calls. I can't speak at events. I'm 100% out while the receiver's in charge. So I'm pretty much on the sidelines. Same thing with Trudeau approved products. Same thing with KT Radio Network. Obviously, there'll be no more radio shows because I'm out. I have no involvement at all while the receiver's in charge. That could change, and the receivers aren't going to be in charge forever, so that'll change as well. But right now, I'm on the sidelines when it comes to the companies, Global Information Network, Radio Network, Trudeau approved products. I can't do anything. The receiver has control of everything, all the money, and I'm virtually penniless and homeless, which is fine. We're going to get this resolved once and for all and be put behind us. Which leads me to another challenge. The government also charged me with what's called criminal contempt. And what that means is they said that when I held up this book on television and said that if you buy this, you're going to learn about a way to lose weight that I found to be easy. Not only did I misrepresent the contents of the book when I made that statement, but I did it willfully. I did it on purpose. I knew that I was misrepresenting the book, that I was purposely defrauding everyone. That's categorically not true. I believed, number one, that I was accurately describing the content of the book. I believed that I was in compliance with the order. And I believed every statement I made, and I believed I was exercising my First Amendment rights. So the government charged me with criminal contempt. And I have a trial coming up with a jury of 12 people, November 4th. It's a major trial. The government has unlimited resources. They've put the FBI, the Postal Inspector into researching. They are spending huge amounts of money, unlimited resources that they have to prosecute. The trial could last 1 or even 2 weeks. It's a major trial. I'm being charged with criminal contempt. And I believe the government is seeking between 10 to 18 years in prison. I think that's where the range is. I know you're probably thinking this is crazy, but this is what I'm facing. On November 4th in Chicago, federal court, that trial starts. Now here's the reason for this broadcast. When the receiver was appointed, the receiver took control of all my assets worldwide and all the companies, which means I'm virtually penniless and homeless. I don't have access to any money. Zero. 100% zero. And the judge said that none of the companies can use any of their funds to pay my legal bills. And this is the reason for this video broadcast. And the desperate asking for help. I need your financial help. My lawyers are on standby. They're ready to file motions to withdraw from the case if they don't get money for their legal fees. Again, the government froze my assets. I have access to no money, and the government is not allowing any of those companies to use their funds to pay my legal bill. So this is why I have to ask you. The trial, normally if I hired the best legal team to fight, cost about $1,700,000 in legal fees. That's the insanity of the American legal system. Obviously, I couldn't afford that. So we reduced, and I have kind of a good defense, not a bare bones defense, but a good defense team. And Tom Kirsch and my other attorney, Carolyn Erlin, are excellent. They work together. They're at Winston & Strawn. Great lawyers. I think we're going to do a great job. They estimate the fees are going to be around $800,000. And virtually in the next 10 days, I need to raise a minimum of $400,000 to keep them on board. This week, I have to get at least a couple $100,000 into them to keep them from withdrawing. And if they withdraw from the case, that means I'll be forced to either defend myself, which means I'll go to the gas chamber. I'm not a lawyer. I'll either have to defend myself or get a public defender, which means one guy working a couple hours a week against a team of, I don't know, a dozen federal agents and lawyers working 10, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they have been for months. I mean, it won't even be a fair fight. I desperately need your help. I need your financial help. And here's what I'm going to offer. On October 21st, it's a Monday, October 21st, in Washington, D.C. It's the day after the Global Information Network Family Reunion. Now, I cannot be at Family Reunion. While the receiver's in place, I have no affiliation or involvement in GIN. So I can't physically be at Family Reunions, so I won't be there. But I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. that weekend. And on Monday, the 21st, I'm going to do a one-day seminar from 9 to noon and from 2 to 5. This seminar is going to contain information that I've never released before about success, about the law of attraction, about manifesting. It's not in level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, or even level 6. It's training that I haven't done yet. It's not in inner circle training. It's not in sanctioned speaker training. It's not in any of the training I've ever done for the Global Information Network. It's never been produced yet. So I'm going to produce this training, which is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. Really is going to focus on making things and manifesting things in your life. I believe it'll be the most powerful training, and it's open to everyone. Whether you're a GIN member or not a GIN member, it's open to everyone. And it's free, provided you make a contribution to my legal defense fund to pay the lawyer. So here's the offer. If you make a contribution of $1,000, $1,000, and you can use PayPal, you can send us a check, or you can wire transfer the money. If you make a contribution of $1,000, I'll give you a free ticket to that seminar. Now, it's going to be a very small room. It's not going to be thousands of people there. So it'll be first come, first serve. It's $1,000, and you get a ticket to the seminar. Now, if you can't afford $1,000, or if you can't make the seminar, if you make a contribution of $500, I'll send you the audios of that seminar. For that seminar on October 21st in Washington, D.C., the day after Global Information Network Family Reunion, I'm going to record it, and a few days afterwards, you'll get an email with the downloads, the audios of that seminar for a contribution of $500. Now, if you can contribute $1,750, $1,750, you get the audio download, and you get a ticket, but it will be a VIP ticket to the seminar on October 21st. VIP seating, and I'll make sure I get a photo with you as well. Now, if you can contribute $2,500, the night before the seminar, Sunday night, the 20th of October, in Washington, D.C., I'm going to have a private dinner. And the private dinner will only be people who donate $2,500 or more. It'll be a private dinner. We'll get a chance to get a photo, talk, and so forth. And I'm also going to give you some inside information there that I wouldn't reveal into the general public at all. It won't be recorded. But that'll be a lovely time. $2,500 you get to come to the private dinner, just one person though. Just one person to the private dinner. You also get the audio downloads from the seminar, and you get a VIP ticket to the seminar on Monday as well. If you can donate $5,000, you get a ticket to the dinner, you get a VIP ticket to the seminar, you get the audio downloads at the seminar, but you also get, in addition to that, a one-on-one telephone coaching, counseling, mentoring session with me. And on the website, I think there's a link there where you can actually read some comments of people that have had this one-on-one coaching. It's just not coaching or mentoring or me giving you some counsel and advice. I actually do some very powerful energy work, which I believe, and based on the results, has been absolutely transformational. It has changed people's life permanently, because what I can do one-on-one just can't do in a group setting. So when I do that one-on-one energy, I can actually get rid of the blocks right there and just not waste time. I believe a 1-hour session is like 5 years in terms of the growth that you would have achieved on your own. I can just see where the energy is. I'm not a psychic per se, but when you're reading energy, you are psychic. When I sit down or talk people on the phone doing these one-on-ones, I really get rid of this block. So I tell people exactly what their issues are. They don't even have to tell me. And it's pretty amazing to them that I have that ability to do that. And the results that people will get, again, if you read the comments, the results have been really, really spectacular. So I think you really enjoy that. I desperately need your help. If I can't raise the money this week, the lawyers are going to withdraw, and I'm on my own. Everything is going to be fine no matter what. But I really do need your help. People have come up to me and said for years, we support you. The fight, the fact that, Kevin, you're willing to go on the front lines and expose this and take the arrows and take the bullets, we're behind you. We support you. Kevin, thank you for all the work you've done. Thank you for sacrificing your family life and your personal life to produce all this training in the Global Information Network. Kevin, thank you for producing the Trudeau-approved products, vitamins, the KT Daily. Kevin, thank you for producing all this training. Thank you for the unbelievable amount of work that you've put in producing all these events for Jim and all you've done. Thank you for the support. And I appreciate those thanks. But now I need more than thanks. I really need you to step up. I need some financial help. If you can't make a contribution of $500 or more, any amount will do. On the website, there's an ability for you to punch in any amount. You can use PayPal, but if you're going to make a larger donation, maybe $1,000 or more, maybe you want to wire the money in, and the wire information is on the website. Or you can just write a good old-fashioned check and send it in. But don't put it regular mail. If you're going to send a check of $1,000 or $1,750 or $2,500 or $5,000, if you're going to send a check in, please send it overnight express, whether it's express mail or next day UPS or next day Federal Express. We desperately need the money right now. We really can't wait. Or you can always wire transfer the money, but make sure you fill out the form so we have your contact details so that we can make sure you get a ticket to the event. Folks, in terms of the Global Information Network, I'm 100% on the sidelines, not involved right now at all while the receiver's in charge. Don't know how long that's going to be. AT Radio Network, Trudeau Reports, all the companies, the receiver virtually is the owner. The receiver controls them all. And this is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. The receivers are outstanding, by the way. I've met them all, Kenton and Rick and Val, not everyone, but the ones I've met, they have huge amounts of experience. They're not kids. They are very, very well-versed in running companies. They are great accountants and financial people. And they have just a vast amount of business experience. And quite frankly, they could come in and do an absolutely magnificent job in terms of getting these companies rehabilitated, financially operating profitably, and do a great job. And they've been very, very fair with me. And I'm thrilled that they're involved. So we should support them 100%. And I support this whole activity because this is going to bring this legal challenge with the Federal Trade Commission to a resolution and completion once and for all. It will be perfect. I'm off to the sidelines now, but maybe in the future I'll be coming back. The criminal case is very serious, and I believe the government is seeking 10 to 18 years. So I need the financial help so I can go to trial on November 4th and win. And if I get acquitted, then I believe it's a clear road ahead. I really need your help. Thank you for listening. Thank you for considering it. And I'm deeply appreciative and grateful and thankful to all of you for your love, your prayers, your support. And now I really need you to open up your checkbook and make that contribution to my legal defense fund. Do it today, not tomorrow. Please do it today. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you on October 24th in Washington, D.C. for what I believe to be my greatest seminar ever. Quite frankly, it could be my last live appearance for quite a long time. So I hope to see you. Love you. We'll see you soon.